Good morning, this is Burnrate and welcome back to Democracy 3 as we continue to bring Canada forward in the future, controlling our population for their own good, and just taking care of this country as it moves into a dangerous dark times with global warming causing food prices to rise and cyclone activity to increase. There's just a lot of difficult things going on. We can just look at the damage to our environment, to the GDP. We have a small surplus at this time, and we're going to need to turn around and invest it back into the GDP somehow. But at this moment, we're just going to move forward another turn. We still have quite a high rating in the polls, although the liberal minority just continues with assassination attempts. A dangerous, selfish group. We have the water shortage. This is not unexpected due to the removal of the Climate Adaptation Fund. It does increase food prices, which makes things difficult for many people. We can look at the poor earnings here. With the increase in food prices, we may need to implement something such as the food stamps, but for now we're gonna we've been doing a lot of changes, so we're gonna try and let some of them shake out, and we're going to need to do something to increase our standing. We need to get our max political capital back up to 50 to enact some stronger changes. So we're gonna go into the next turn and see how some of these changes are coming through. So another failed assassination attempt, and we can look at the Freedom League. They're the only dangerous group, and their membership is stable and small, but they're dangerous. They're killing security guards and losing their own lives. It's just a terrible and fruitless pursuit. We'll continue on again. Oh, yep, there is the expected food crisis due to the water shortage, the climate change, and this is having a lot of negative effects. Lowered productivity, health, poverty. We're going to continue on. Our GDP is very low due to this flash crash. This is a very unfortunate. Wow, that is a huge drop. Let's go take a look at the graphs, and we can see the global economy has not actually dropped, so that should help our economy to recover pretty quickly. And we still are carrying a small surplus, so let's see what we can do. What the food stamps could help, and that is within our surplus. Look at farm subsidies would help with food. Let's say we implement this. It does lower unemployment and food prices significantly. And I think keeping this around the middle area will be best. We're going to apply those changes. That should definitely help out. Take a look. So small changes now. There's a lot that we want to let. A lot of things that we want to let shake out. The full effects we still haven't seen yet, so we're going to move forward a few turns again. Another failed assassination attempt. Unemployment on the rise, unfortunately, due to the sudden crash, the drop in GDP, although our GDP is rapidly recovering. We can see some groups continue to improve their opinion, while others, continues to drop. So lowering the food prices with the welfare tax, we do have a significant deficit at this time. So I think we're going to step forward one more quarter, 3 more months. And let's take a look here. Another failed assassination attempt, but the GDP is recovering and employment is dropping rapidly. Unemployment, the poverty is going up due to this food crisis. We do need to take some action against that, and we do have a very small surplus. So let's look at what we can do with the food stamps to implement that. Actually has a huge negative effect on poverty. Many positive. There's really no reason not to max this out and apply it. I think we will. And we'll take another step forward. More unfortunate events, a biohazard outbreak, another failed assassination attempt by the liberal groups. Unemployment and poverty are down though. Freedom League membership is increasing, which is unfortunate, and one of our ministers is... there he is. He's having some difficulty in his position, so he's going to quit soon, and that actually might allow us to get back up to a higher GDP. What is he in? Law and Order Minister? Need someone that has some sympathies that match with the strong groups that are voting for us. There's not many law or religious capitalist. Not many law and order groups. It would be nice if there was more we could do for the capitalist group. This is unfortunate. But due to some of these things, the food stamps should help quite a bit. We're going to move forward. We have 3 more turns until the next election, but we can see our voting intentions are still 90%, 90.25% voting for us. So we'll step forward to the next turn. Again, failed assassination attempt, but we have even moved into an egalitarian society. This is outstanding. You know, there's just huge benefits on it. Let's read this. Understanding our different backgrounds better. And better these days, due to cultural exchanges and education, people are now treating each other equally, blurring and even erasing the lines between different races, genders, and beliefs. Living in such a society makes people very happy and less likely to cause harm to others. And you can just see with these groups, you know, trying to kill me and just destabilizing our government. It's just insane. Look, their membership is dropping rapidly. You know, people are beginning to realize, you know, the actual just positive effects that my leadership has been having. That our political capital should increase more. So 2 more turns until the next election, which we have in hand. Again, we're advised of a liberal plot, but we're still managing not to have to fight off a assassination attempt this turn. Unemployment is continuing to drop. Is excellent. And we have a policy question. Appoint a senior judge. So we can either choose someone who is a strong supporter of human rights, individual rights and liberties, or someone who is very strong against crime. Now I think, considering the controls we have against crime at this time, that we do not need to appoint a judge who is going to reinforce those. I think we need to shore up some of our weaknesses, and you know, we do need to regulate capitalism and look out for the consumer and the individual. It is something we've done. We're going to appoint Trevor Johnson as a senior judge. So we're going to continue on here, and we can see the membership of this group has just been dropping for years. Their actions are definitely that of a shrinking minority, a shrinking but still violent minority. With 44 political capital, there are some changes we can make. And this wouldn't be a terrible one. It wouldn't cost us anything, and considering we do have military service for everyone, I don't think it would be a bad decision. We have one turn next, so let's implement this right before the voting. Again, this group is just, for all citizens would make sense. The liberal group will always complain about anything that improves the stability and safety of our country. We can set this for state employees, and since every employee is at one time or another going to be a state employee, I find that satisfactory. Let's apply the changes and we'll go into our next turn into our election. Let's start the count. We have an activist turnout boost of 100%. Our opposition has 0%. And with a vote of 88% of all the electorate, of all the voters, we can begin our next term. Not unexpected, but again, it's always nice to know that what we were doing is right. Again, stepping down from this victory, we're just immediately encountered with the liberal plots, the violence that they're bringing towards us with. It's disappointing is all I can say. Their membership is decreasing still. So let's take a look here. Our maximum, we have some individuals that are, let's look at our potential ministers here. For law and order, I think Kaylee McDonald may be a good choice to replace him. And who is this one? He is less than happy in public services. Not bad. Not bad either. Let's see how the trade unionist group views us. Not wonderful, but not terrible. There are things we could do to improve their opinion of us, but we kind of have a balanced, positive and negative roles here, so let's take a look over here. We have prostitution legalized. It's actually set down to none, but still has huge negative effects on many groups. It does help with the GDP at this time, though. We may want to cancel this policy. We are running a surplus and our debt is dropping again. I think the positive effects here will outweigh any negative effects, and we're going to cancel this policy. We're looking at waiting for these ministers to resign. Perhaps we will replace them soon. So let's go on to the next turn. Again, the liberal plots. Child labor law. Look at the state of our country is doing very well. There's some difficult years there, but I think winning the election showed the decisions we were making people approve of. The membership of this group is still decreasing. Danger they're posing is dropping. And we're going to look at this. We can criminalize child labor. The law is currently very weak with regards to preventing companies from employing children under 16 in full-time positions. This is those skipping school are unlikely to be those who would pay attention in class anyway. I think that is a poor excuse. I think, having a public school system places the burden of that responsibility, to do your best to educate the children. You can't be their parents. You can't raise them. But I think giving a children that it's not just the opportunity, but the encouragement and guidance in their education is important. And I think with child labor, you're also it's also bad for the regular workforce. It's going to boost unemployment and lower wages for everyone in general. I think it's bad for the economy overall, and bad for the future, for education. It's bad for individuals, so I think I will criminalize child labor. And continue on. And let's look at our back up to 48. I'm thinking I could change one, although firing him might destabilize some of the loyalty of the other one, so I think I'm going to wait for them to quit on their own. Perhaps. Our debt is dropping. I don't want to incur any further costs right now, so I think I'm just going to move forward. I'm just going to continue on. There's really nothing we can do about the food crisis anymore. We've implemented the food stamps, which has been a huge help with poverty and unemployment, and kind of, in a sense, counteracted all the negative effects of the food price crisis. So, well, it's still there on a global scale. I think nationally it has been well managed and countered, and it's not something we need to worry about. So we're going to move forward into our next, again, the advice of the liberal plot. So GM food proposal. So this is interesting. GM crops, they have huge benefits: increased shelf life, reduced costs, and I think, reduced need for pesticides is also excellent. And I think with the current food price crisis, this might also be an excellent proposal to pass. And here we can see the ban the sale. There is no need for GM food. The benefits are great for the producers, but not for the consumers. We don't know enough about the long-term effects. I think at this time we do know enough about the long-term effects. I think the benefits are enough for the consumers. We have a global food crisis, and so I think there is a need for GM food. But I think we are going to allow the GM crops. I think that would be better for everyone in the short and the long term. And we can see our political capital still rising. These two, she's about to quit, I believe. I'd rather her quit than have to fire her. So let me take a look. Any public services, perhaps? I think this may be important to fight those liberal groups. Not sure. I think that's why we need a political capital up to 50. This needs 52 for satellite road pricing. This is a very high popularity with voters and does offset some of its expenditure as well. Considering we have anti-gravity and electric cars now, and the fuel tax does not, account for road maintenance, this may be appropriate. Do bus passes and bus subsidies. Let's see. Free bus passes. Could be expensive. It could reduce car usage. And it is a market distortion. So let's take a quick look at what do we have here. The subsidized school buses. I think I am going to implement it on some level. So let's take a look here. It does help with poor earnings. Let's apply these changes. It is not a bad plan. So where are they? Here we go. Increases bus usage, which decreases car usage, which is good. Does increase oil demand, but that also increases the carbon tax income in our. So You know, the bus usage is already extremely low due to the driverless cars and things like that. But I think at this point we're still waiting for some of our more adversarial ministers to leave their posts, and we can, you know, easily get our political capital maximum back above 50 to implement any kind of changes we need for the greater security of our society, our government, our people, our future. And some these are all just unavoidable aspects of the future, and I think having a strong national identity is not actually a negative effect. It has some, you know, some ramifications that need to be managed, but I don't think it is a bad thing. These are unavoidable. This is, you know, the price of the future of our use of the world. There's not much that can be done about it, but for now we're going to take a break. I wish you well. I wish that you stay safe, and I hope that you realize the sacrifices that are being made for the prosperity of this country. I'll see you in the next video.